I'm going to talk about the benefits of those kitchen practices around making your soups from scratch, with the keys being saving money, capturing flavors, and recovering nutrients. So what I'm starting with is a saucepan, and I have pre-cut some fresh broccoli and some mushrooms. This is the back side of the handout that you have. And so I am putting the pre-cut broccoli and mushrooms into the pan, and then I'm combining it with vegetable broth. So I have added the vegetable broth, and we're going to be talking about how to make vegetable stock. And I'm going to let this cook on high, and hopefully it'll cook while we're here in this presentation. Then on this next burner, what I'm going to do is make a white sauce. Now when I make a white sauce that's gluten-free and dairy-free, I have to substitute all of the ingredients virtually, so except for the salt. So what I'm going to do is today I'm using sunflower oil. I could use any mild oil. Normally, if I was using rice starch, I might use rice bran oil. Why? Because I specialize in food sensitivities, so I like to minimize the number of foods that go into my items. So I would use rice bran oil, and I would use rice flour, or I would use almond oil, and I would use almond milk, or something like that. So I have just put a fourth of a cup of this oil and a fourth of a cup of this rice flour into the pan, and then I'm going to use a whisk to make a roux. Most of these starches that you can use cooking gluten-free to make sauces, you don't make a roux with, but rice flour works really, really well. So I don't have the fancy mirror, but you can see that really I'm just coating the starch with the oil. And if I were making a real white sauce, I would put butter in here, melt that, and then add the... And then what I'm going to show you how to do is make non-dairy milk. And so what I would be doing is taking the tip at the bottom of your recipe is how to make cashew milk. And my favorite way to do it, this is raw cashews that came from LifeSource. However, sometimes I use roasted cashews, even roasted salted cashews, because then saves me a step. You know, there's all for cooking things the ideal way, but there's also something about saving time in the kitchen. So this happens to be 2 cups of water, and it would be slightly warm water. Then I would put a half a cup of cashews in here, and then I would turn it on. So then what I'm going to do is add it to the starch, and it's looking now, oh, interesting. Now that brings me to a point. When I do it this way, I just blend it up. Sometimes there's some sludge at the bottom, and when people make their own milk, they're told they need to strain it in a very fine strain, sieve, or a coffee filter, or a nut bag, and all of those things could be done, but I would do them only if you're really making milk that you want to drink as a beverage. When you're making it for soup, who cares? You're making it thick, and those particulates are going to be suspended. You decide how sludgy it is and whether you really want to put it in there or not. And I would actually stir it first. So if I blended this up and I hadn't blended it long enough, then I would actually leave the sludge at the bottom and just use that. And the recipe actually calls for a little bit of salt. And so when you're making soups, sometimes there's a variety of, thank you. There are a variety of kinds of salts that you can use. And you're hearing me now, right? I hope? Good. So I'm going to put in this carefully measured amount of mined salt that actually has more minerals than some other salts. But you could use sea salt. One of my favorites is Hawaiian salt also. So you'd see, if you were up here, that this sauce is getting pretty thick. And all I'm going to do is take this thick sauce, mix it with these vegetables that are cooking, and then adjust the seasoning, and my soup is done.